Hello, everybody. I'm Rachel Augusta, and I work with animals who are sick, injured, diseased, have been abused, suffer from old age, or trauma. This is part of the Women Holding Women series. And today I'm going to be having a conversation with one of my very favorite people on the whole damn planet. Her name is Miyu Sudo, and she is actually not just a personal friend of mine, but she is my personal mentor. And she has so much genius that I wanted to share her with you. So Miyu is the founder and creator of Happy Weight and Body, and she is a certified life coach, experienced in helping women find their happy weight and feel good in their bodies. She began her journey in Japan when she was about to graduate from high school. She started struggling with eating disorders, all from stress and pressure of being the proper and perfect child. And after she suffered from eating disorders for 5 years, she realized that she needed to nurture and heal herself in order to overcome the actual problem. She believes that it's her calling to help women who have problems with weight and body image so that they can live their lives to their fullest. Her approach to weight and body goes beyond the surface to what truly matters in your mind and soul so that you can become more confident in relationships, successful in your business, and rise and soar in your happiness. Hi, Miyu.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So as I'd mentioned, you are helping me with every single aspect of my life right now.
Thank
Like
you.
every single aspect. And when we started working together, it was more than it was more than a year ago. Yeah, it was
I
more than a
think
year
so. I
ago.
believe it's a little bit over a year ago.
Yeah. So Miyu, just to give everybody an understanding of how this came to be that Miyu started helping me with my weight and my body image is that um, we're friends. And so we were just friends and she knew, and we were in another mastermind together. She just knew some of my struggles because she heard me talking about them. I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm vegan. I eat almost all vegetables except for my occasional breakdown with Miyoko's cheese and pretzels. and but what the hell? This does not make sense that I'm holding on to weight. Like this really sucks. And I was just saying this to her as a friend. And and then Miyu approached me and was like, here's the deal, Rachel. I don't think it's necessarily about what you're eating. I think it's what's going on the inside of your body that's actually really preventing you from being where you want to be, loving who you are, and just experiencing life the way that you want to. And the other side to this is that Miyu knew that I had this deep fear of getting on stage and speaking because I was just really afraid that people would attack me for my physical looks because that's what happens to women when they have an opinion. When women have an opinion, people like to attack how they look physically. And so Miyu knew this about me. And so when Miyu approached me, I think you did it in an email. I can't remember, but you were like, hey, so here's the deal. I've experienced this myself. And I think what you're going through is a lot of emotional baggage, which is preventing you from actually being who you want to be in your body. Right?
Exactly. It's so funny. I remember like a year, almost a little over a year, like a year and a half ago, probably. Actually, Rachel helped me a lot too, because back then I was helping most of my clients are Japanese because my complex, I was kind of like uncomfortable coaching non-Japanese woman because, as you can see, I'm from Japan, and then my native language is Japanese and English is a second language. So to me, I had this little bit of thing about coaching someone in English because I didn't want to be judged. So I was kind of scared, but at the same time, I've seen over and over all these like women, not necessarily Japanese women, who are struggling with their weight and body image. And I wanted to like, I was eager to help, but I just couldn't push myself. And then of course I met Rachel, and I'm seeing her in the on a mastermind classes, and then I hear her just her struggle. And then I'm like, I have to do something. This is my calling. As I said, the universe just like telling me, here's a Rachel that I really care about, and then I love, and then she's struggling, and I have something that I have to share. I can help her, and then what am I doing? So I push myself, and then that's how I reached out. And I
Totally.
contacted you, like, hey, like I have this. If you want this, you can start working. And sure enough, once I start working with you, I've start seeing like a lot of my friends and the people just around me start contacting me like, oh, I'm interested in what you do. And then that's how I end up just, start helping
Helping us American ladies.
exactly. So
Well,
that's
I
funny.
love, I don't know that you've shared that with me before. I don't know that you shared with me that you were having an inner struggle, because for people listening, they might be like, well, if Miyu did this and they'd been friends for a long time and she knew that was Rachel was struggling, why wouldn't Rachel go to her, or why wouldn't Miyu approach her? And it's because Miyu was like, I have insecurities that you're going to judge me because English is my second language. So I'm just
Right.
going to stick with Japanese ladies.
Yep.
And and she didn't tell me that this was her genius in the world. And I'm so grateful that you didn't hide that from me, because your wisdom and help and just like, oh my God, what you've done for me has changed my life. I cannot even imagine where I would be right now if I didn't have you, because you have been so quintessential in my whole healing journey. And for people who don't know, when you approached me, my breakdown basically was I was going through a breakup with my boyfriend, and it had just triggered a ton of childhood trauma. There was just so much going on for me that when she reached out, it was like, oh my God, yes, this is exactly what I need. And like, I need somebody, because you said to me, Rachel, I think there's more to this than just calorie counting. Like, this isn't just about calories in, calories out. There, your body is holding on to trauma. Your body is holding on to some things that we have to get to the bottom of. And because if you aren't happy on the inside, you will never be able to sustain a body weight on the outside that you will be happy with, which was so true. And then you shared your story with me, which is what really like had me sign the dotted line with you that I wanted to work with you. And so for other people, do you mind sharing your story of being a ballerina?
Sure, of course. So I started struggling with my weight and body image when I was about to graduate from high school. And when it started happening, I just didn't know why, because as you mentioned, I was a ballet dancer. I started dancing ballet when I was 4, and then I kept dancing. I pretty much like devoted all my life, my childhood and then the teenage life, to ballet. I was competing, and I was in a different performances, and I was even doing a little bit of a professional performances as well. So I didn't, when I started gaining weight, I didn't know, because I pretty much did exercise like 4, 5, even like 6, 7 hours a day, depending on the performances that I was in and I was rehearsing. And I didn't change my diet. I didn't change anything. But then my body just started getting bigger and bigger. So of
And that's
course,
insane. I mean, like,
I
you're
know.
dancing 6 or 7 hours a day and you're gaining
Yeah,
weight.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And of course, as a dancer, I knew a lot of different diets. So I put myself on a really, really strict diet. Like, I take only like 1,000 calories a day or even less. And I used to be able to just, shrink. I had to sometimes, like when I was a dancer, especially when I was doing like, partner dance with a guy, male dancers. So I knew a lot of tricks, but nothing worked, and it was so weird. And then it feels like the more I tried to beat myself up, the more stubborn my body becomes, and I just didn't know why. And then I slowly start having eating disorders, and I pretty much struggled for almost like 5 years. And I just hated my body. I
Mm.
look at myself every day, and then I felt really almost like disgusted.
Mhm.
And then I kept beating myself up, and I just didn't know why. And and then finally, after like 5 long years of just suffering, I just gave up. I told myself, this is just not my life. I don't want to live like this. And then there should be something more than just, being obsessed with my weight. So I decided to start focusing on myself, nurturing myself, loving myself. And around that time, I got injured. So I decided to quit dancing.
Mm.
And then within probably 6 months or so, I started losing weight. And then I just kept losing. And then I started feeling so much better. I felt like I was finally free.
Mm.
And that's when I realized that it wasn't about what I eat, what I ate, what I did, exercise, workout, none of that. What I needed was emotional fulfillment.
Mm.
I needed to fulfill my emotional needs and not the food.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and when you said that to me, I was like, yes, please sign me up. Please sign me up. And then I wanted to work with you, but at the same time, I had all of this resistance.
mm.
You would be like, okay, Rachel, I need you to journal this week. And I'd be like, no, Rachel, I need to
You even told me like I don't trust the process. I'm like, okay, so I have to takes a couple of different steps for her, and
I'm a horrible student.
yeah, so that she would at least start to you know trusting the process. But you
Yeah.
were pretty hesitant, and you weren't having good time, and then you even told me that you didn't feel like even having a session, coming to our sessions a couple of
Yes,
times.
it's true. I mean, the thing is that I didn't like going to the sessions sometimes. I didn't trust that it was going to work. I didn't trust the process. I hated the homework you gave me. And for anybody listening, it wasn't not hard homework. I like it was like just journal your feelings. I'm like, yeah. And it was like just look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you love you. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm a horrible student. But there was so much but and you say there's so much resistance, but it falls into exactly like what was going on in my life. Like not trusting anything, not trusting myself, not trusting other people. Like there's just was so much of that it was probably not fun to work with me at the beginning because you're like, she is a nightmare. but the thing is that what I want to say is despite English being your second language, your true superhero power or one of them is that you are so highly intuitive. And so even if we're not both even speaking the same language, Miyu has this crazy ability, like it's kind of freaky scary to just go straight into the heart of the matter, and you always knew what was going on, and you were basically getting me to look at my emotions and feelings that were holding me back from actually losing the weight. And that's why I think it was so scary for me to go into those places with you, because
Yeah,
I was afraid to do that.
yeah, that's very typical. So although I knew I was just kidding that like, oh boy, like Rachel doesn't trust the process and we have to do like extra steps to get to where we need to
Right.
be. But it's very typical, especially like people who never really face their um, issues.
Hmm.
A lot of fear comes up, and people start doubting, and a lot of people, they even like tell me even before we even start the program, like, oh, I thought about it, I wanted to do it, but I thought about it, I don't want to do it, because it's scary.
Scary.
And then it's totally understandable. So I have probably like half of the people who are really interested in what I do, but they decided not to do it even before the program started, just dropped out. And this
Right.
is very typical, because it's, yeah, it's not like what I offer, it's not like a cookie cutter diet, like, oh, just do this, and you're done. It's not like that. We go really deep into your issues and your emotions. So if you're not used to that, it's really scary. So it's totally
Right.
understandable that you feel that way. But once you kind of break through that, then you start seeing different things, like you start seeing your whole life in a different way, and then your life itself doesn't change, but then it just start looking different, and you start feeling different you know
Totally. Totally. And so for people, watching or listening, like Miyu, it like is a weight loss coach, but you're not like counting calories, and you're not like going, okay, you need to make sure that you have a smoothie with this, and it. Like, that's not what it is. It's not like going to a Weight Watchers meeting or Jenny Craig. Like, you're getting to the heart of the matter of why this exists in the first place on a deep emotional level. And
yeah,
so when I explain Miyu to my friends or other people, I always say, like, she's my mentor. Like, you're my mentor, because not like, oh, this is Miyu, she's my weight loss coach. It's like, oh no, this is the person who has like made me go deep, deep, deep into my emotional state and figure out why I'm doing these certain things or what triggers emotional eating for me.
yeah,
And so, that's how you do it. And at one point you said to me, use this analogy that I thought was just so perfect. Um, it was perfect for me because at the time I had all of this jewelry that had gotten knotted. And you were like, we're just untying the knots, and some knots are bigger than others. And we had been for a few months just getting little knots out, little knots out, little knots out. And then we came to this huge, massive knot. And it was like when we let that go, there was just this complete release and breakthrough, like epiphanies and aha moments that just changed my life. And, and I'm not blowing smoke or anything, but like my work with you has been so profound that calling you a weight loss coach is like, it's like, it doesn't even do you justice, because you have helped me with me looking at me, helped me with my relationships, helped me with my friendships, helped me with my family, helped me with just my daily, weekly freakouts in my job and my work in this world, because it's all contributes to how you feel about yourself.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's if you're looking for just simply to lose weight, then there's just so many different diet programs, like you said, like Weight Watchers, and even like small programs, and you can do that. And then some people lose weight, and then become happy, and then they start feeling good about themselves, and then it sometimes for some people it works, but
Mhm.
it didn't work for me. And then I know
It
there are a
wasn't
lot of
working for
people
me. Yeah.
exactly like you as well that just doesn't work, and then even if you try different thing, it's not a diet. So what I offer is like emotional healing, emotional trauma, and or helping you being able to tap into your subconscious and heal whatever it needs to be healed, so that you not only start feeling good about yourself or feeling good in your body, but everything else in your life start to kind of fall into the place where it needs to be. I think that would be the best way to describe what I do. So just the weight loss is just like just one of the things, just like a tip of the branches, a lot of branches, and then we just kind of go work through the branches, and we get to the core of what's been, preventing you from doing what you love to do, or being able to express yourself, or do whatever you wanted to do, just to have fulfill your life. So just the weight loss is just like the very tip of the iceberg, I should
Yeah,
say.
totally. And I mean, and the thing is, like with Weight Watchers or any of those other weight loss programs, is that it's I I don't know the exact numbers, but it's a really high ratio that after people lose weight, they only keep it off for less than a year and then they
Right.
gain the weight back. Because the reality is there's something deep emotional that they didn't deal with that caused them to have the weight issue in the first place. But what I love about what you do is it's like, I mean, you even said to me at one point, like, we're not going to focus on your weight. It's not about your weight. It's not about how much you weigh right now. Like, that's irrelevant. However much you weigh, it's irrelevant. It's about your happiness. Like, why aren't you happy? Or what is preventing you? Or like, why are you stress eating? Or what sort of trauma are you actually holding on to that has forced you to have, belly weight? Like, let's actually look at that and heal you from the inside out. And whatever happens with your body physically is whatever happens, but
Exactly.
let's just heal the way you feel about yourself.
Mhm.
And
Because
that's,
I know, I'm sorry to
oh
interrupt
no,
you.
that I was just gonna say, and that's beautiful.
And because
Yeah.
as I experience myself, if you are not happy inside, no matter how skinny you get, if you're overweight, you just think that, oh, if I get skinny, I'll be this and this, I'll be
Mhm.
feeling so happy, everything is going to be good, money start to come in, and I'm going to have, this and that. But that's not the truth.
Right.
Even if you become skinny as you wish, if you're not happy inside, you still want to lose weight. You still keep looking for the thing that will make your life much better and then make it PG perfect. So if you don't do that, then you're just gonna be just, the hamster on the wheel, just keep looking. It's just not gonna go anywhere. So
Totally. I mean, and it's like you can be at the height of your success. It's like you could have these great things happening for you, but if you don't really like know who you are and love it and appreciate it in all of its glory, it's all kind of irrelevant. And so, just to say this again, it's like you're a weight loss coach, but it's like, and you're a business coach, and you're like a million things wrapped into, like, I had to choose a title. So this is what I chose. And so, yeah, and you have this innate like ability to just tune into exactly what's going on and are remembering things that I said from like months ago. Like, I'd say something like 6 months ago, and then in a call, you're like, oh, well, 6 months ago you said this one thing. I'm like, how does she even freaking remember this stuff? It's amazing. It's amazing. And then you can pull it all together into this like picture. And I don't remember what my changing point with you was, where I was like, oh, I trust this process. Oh, because like I love my calls with you now each week. I'm like, oh, thank God, I need Miyu. I need her so bad. I need to get on the phone with her. And so I don't remember. You probably remember. Your memory is like way better than mine, but I don't remember the moment where I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking good for me. And it's just been life changing. And so thank God you pushed past your fears of not wanting to help American women. And the funny thing too is, I want to share with people listening, is the first time Miyu and I met, apparently I was a bitch to her. I didn't mean to be.
I know you weren't bitch. You just weren't that nice. But I know that you explained to me, and you're shy. in some, you know, some
Yeah,
way
people
that
don't know that about me.
right. And but
Yeah.
I'm shy too, so I kind of push myself. I had to push myself to introduce myself, even walk up to someone that I don't know and introduce myself. And that was exactly one of the moments like I pushed myself, and then I say hi to her, and then she wasn't, you know, that
I didn't
friendly.
reciprocate.
So yeah,
Yeah, I actually, yeah. So me and I met at a women's event like 3 years ago now.
something like that. Yeah,
Or yeah, 3 or even maybe even 4 years ago. 3 or
yeah.
4 years ago, Miyu and I met, and, yeah, we were at an event in Santa Cruz or Monterey, and she approached me and said hi, and I guess I just really didn't say hi back, "Here, sugar pants," and then later we were in a mastermind group together, and she's like, "Rachel, I've met you before. You were a bitch to me," because I didn't remember. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." Um, I yeah, I'm actually really shy. People don't know that because I'm like outgoing and stuff. But when I was a little kid, um, I had like I'm naturally a blonde, and I wore my bangs past my eyes, and then I wouldn't talk to anybody except my mom and dad. And my kindergarten teacher knew this about me. And so she would like kind of cater to it, and she was okay with it. And so it took a lot for me to come out of that shell. But sometimes when there's a lot of people around, there's a lot of activity because I'm really sensitive to energy. I get overwhelmed, and then I go back into that shell. So I end up just looking like a bitch. So there was something about us that needed to meet though.
Exactly. You know, it's so funny that you mentioned about your childhood. I felt the same way. I was really shy, although I was dancing. But it's funny that actually the dancing was only one of my ways to express myself and be free. On the stage, nobody says anything, nobody cares, and then I just was carefree. So I was like, that was one of the ways. And like you said, I was really sensitive about with other people's energy.
Mhm.
So I couldn't, there's some point that I couldn't even go to like a supermarket or the department stores because I got really tired because a lot of people just suck a lot of my energy out. So that made me feel even more shy, just kind of not withdrawn, but you know, just like kind of shy away from people, and it make me uncomfortable meeting new people, especially like if I didn't know if that person is like sucking my energy out or not, you know. So we're kind of on the same page. It kind of like your story reminds me of my own childhood story
Totally.
as well.
Well, yeah. So me and I are very, very similar. Like we're really similar. In fact, I'm like, you're my sister from another mister who was born in Japan because like I just feel like our paths needed to like we needed to meet, and you made the first initiation, and I was like, "Meh," and you're like, she's a bitch. And then we ended up being in this other group together like a year later. Like a year later, we ended up being in a very small group of like 4 or 5 women online group. And me was like, I know you. I met you, a year ago, and you had totally ignored me. I was like, oops, sorry. But in this group, we were learning about the lines on our hand and how it impacts our, how we do our work in the world. And Miyu and I are very, very closely paired. We have very similar traits in this world, how we respond to situations. And so this also plays a role because Miyu knows me really well. Like she knows what triggers me and how I respond to stuff. But I just feel like our paths needed to there was something that was bringing us together. Like you were a part of my soul journey in this life to help me through these things. And you were trying to like knock on my door for a few years. And I was like, nope, I'm not ready. Oh, the resistance. I mean, I had resistance to you. Probably when you came and said hi to me, my higher self was like, oh my God, no, this person's going to be this is the person that's supposed to help you work through your stuff. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Don't say hi to her. Just keep walking. And it's like, I want to take a second to talk about that because it's something that we do. Like we resist the things that we need. Why do you think that is? Just curious, your opinion.
Um, there can be a lot of reasons, but one thing that that I've seen over and over is that your subconscious gets created when you since between you when you're born and when you were probably 7 or 8 years old, and anything that you experience during that time goes to your subconscious. And of course it's the subconscious, so you once you become adult or get older, you can't really control that the part of your mind, but it's there. So anything that you learn during that time, let's say like if you something happened to you that make you uncomfortable or scared, it goes to your subconscious. And then once you get older, there's just sometimes like there are things that you do that make you scared and you don't know why. You don't have any logical reason and you don't know why. That's probably the one of the reasons why you feel that way. It's because you probably had the memory from childhood that whatever you did make you scared or make you feel uncomfortable, so that when you get older you still feel that way. So that kind of applies to what you just asked me. If you have experienced something like you were overweight and somebody told you something and that made you upset or made you uncomfortable, or you start having this belief that you are never going to love your body or love yourself, then even if you try to do anything when you get older, as long as you have that mindset in your subconscious, it's not going to work. So of course what you do, you just kind of stay away. You just kind of almost like put the lid on the pot, just boiling water, and just like put in a closet and just like pretend that nothing, it's everything is perfect. So that's a lot of times that happens to a lot of people. So what I do is to just let them see the little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Just show them the possibility that, or have them experience a little bit of the light at the tunnel, so that they feel like, oh, this is not, I thought this is where it's supposed to be, but maybe it's not. Maybe there's so many different ways to look at my life. Maybe I shouldn't live this way,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So, one of the things that you created that you gave to me, and this is where more of my resistance came up recently, was a quiz you created. And I was like, it's not me, you're wrong. Yeah, anybody who's like, oh, I want Rachel, I want to work with Rachel, you probably don't. I'm like the most obstinate, hard to work with person. But anyway, you created this quiz. And tell us about the quiz, because it like you were able to kind of determine different personality types. Like, just talk to us more about this.
Sure. So I created this quiz called "Which type of emotional eater are you?"
Yeah. I
And
even forgot the name of the quiz, even though I took it, because I have so much resistance to it.
no, um, I don't want to get into a lot of details, like what type. There are 4 types. That's all I'm going to say, because before the call, I was like thinking, should I explain like all the 4 types? But then I kind of like came down to the decision not to say much, because people tend to, like you, Rachel,
You're
once
wrong.
they hear the result, like it types, they automatically start thinking, oh, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. They
Which is
don't even
exactly what I did to
bother.
you.
Yeah, they don't even bother taking a quiz, and I don't want that to happen. So
Yeah.
I want
I
you to
took the
think.
quiz. Can I just say I took the quiz and I called Miyu and I was like, you are wrong. You are wrong about everything. You think you know me. You don't know me. And
It
then,
wasn't that bad though, but okay.
but on the inside, I was like, she's
Yeah.
totally wrong. And then you were like, really? And then we just kind of talked about it. And I was like, okay, fine. You're right. You're actually right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to keep all the 4 types secret, but what I'm going to tell you is that the reason why I decided to create this quiz is that, first of all, I love quizzes. It's really fun and it's really easy and it doesn't take that long. But mostly it really helps you think outside the box.
Okay, before you go on, I just
Yeah.
have to say this. When you
Yes.
said I love quizzes, it
Yeah.
totally made me laugh on the inside because so for everybody watching or listening, one of the things that Miyu and I both have in common is we love problem solving and we love figuring out other people's problems. Like it's in our hands. Like
Yeah.
we love problem solving and we especially like problem solving for other people.
Yeah.
So it's hilarious that you're like, I love quizzes.
I know. I know. I love it so much that even something like a silly quizzes that I kind of know that what kind of result I'm going to get. It's just like it like yeah,
You're like, I
I'm
figured out the
addicted. So
problem. I figured it out. It feels so good.
so it was kind of my yeah, it was kind of my dream. Every time I took somebody else's quiz, and I'm like, I wanted to do this, but I just didn't know what kind of quiz that I wanted to create. But then of course start working with different women, and we constantly just talk about their weight and the body images and things like that. I decided to go for just something around eating or body images and things like that. And it just like you said, like you mentioned earlier, um I don't mean to talk about something else, but I just want to mention, like you said, that I sometimes remember things that we talked about from 6 months ago, or I
Years
just
ago.
pinpoint things.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm channeling when I do that.
You
Of course, I
totally
think
are.
about I
It,
think
it's
about
kind of crazy because I mean, like, I just want to give people, it's like you'll say something and all of a sudden Mia gets quiet. And I feel like her brain's like tick, 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 tick. And it's like finding a year, a day, a month. And it's like, oh, Rachel, on this day you said this. And I'm like, how did you do that? But it's so important that what she remembered to this like major breakthrough you're going to have like in your life. It's crazy. It's a crazy ability. Like you could be like one of those circus sideshow people where they like pay you to it's just crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah. So I think I look at it, when I think about it, I think it's just a combination of me being very highly intuitive and then almost channel and then getting message from the universe and then deliver that message to whoever that I need to deliver to, and my logical, my brain, like left brain, working. And then I think it's just a combination. So I use it a lot when it comes to, of course, my clients, and then I miss any kind of like big decision making. So when I went back to the story that I was talking about, the quiz, I got this message and saying one day, like, you should do that about around emotional eating. And then I even got the title, the whole title, like which type of emotion. So it wasn't mine, but I just got it from the universe. I don't mean to go woo-woo, but it was kind of like that. And I just didn't, I thought about something else, but it was so confirmed that I just couldn't think of anything else. So I just started creating it and I had so much fun. And I came up with this 4 types from my personal experience. And also I've seen this same types over and over as I work with my clients. And then it could be like one or two different types at the same time. Some, it could be like, well, like my based on my personal experience, I was all 4 of them at in one time, because when I was especially dealing with eating disorders, I was really depressed and I just was very miserable. So but what I want people to get out of the quiz is that once they take it and look at the result, I want them to think outside the box. I want them to think that, oh, is it how does how it might not resonate with them right away, but I want them to think like, oh, it could be where in my life is this, or where, you know what am I holding? What's holding me back from doing this and this and that?
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's not just a one type that will solve your problem,
Mm-hmm.
your eating, emotional eating problems, but it could be, if I could give them just like one of the tip, just like I said, just like tip of iceberg,
Mm-hmm.
and then just make people realize that, oh, okay, well, if this is a problem, then what can I do about it, or where this relates to my emotional, like a very big source of my emotional eating. So that's what I'm hoping for people to get.
Awesome. Because it's not like you just snap your fingers and it's like, oh, I had my
Exactly.
aha moment. This is a breakthrough. It's like, well, that's tied to something, which is tied to
Exactly.
something else. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's the starting point of figuring things out.
Because what I've seen, especially when it comes to emotional eating, is that a lot of people know they have emotional eating problem, but they don't know what to
Why?
do.
Yeah.
So the best way, the very first step that you can take in order to overcome your emotional eating is to know where it's coming from. So
Right.
if you know the root, then you, and then of course it's the where the cause is usually related to your emotional trauma or something from the past. So if you heal that part, then your emotional eating will gradually or naturally go away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best way, much better way, instead of just going, cold turkey and forcing yourself to stop or changing a diet. Because like you said and mentioned in the beginning, that if you do it, it might go away for a while, but then what if something happened to you, something tragic happen, or something stressful happen, you will probably start eating again.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, completely. And I, like, when I first met you, I was just like, no, I just want to lose 30 pounds in 1 month. Like, I just want to lose all this weight right now. And so that's where some of my resistance was. But at the same time, I knew, I'm like, but I'm not losing weight. And I eat healthier than most people on this planet. This doesn't even make sense to me. But I will say, like, because of my work with you, I like I know what real true joy feels like in my body. I know what it feels like, and I know that it's always there, and I was not able to tap into it previous to our work together. Like, I had never, like, when people see me, they're like, oh, you're happy, you're a comedian, you're a retired circus sideshow performer, you work with animals, things are great. And it's like, yeah, I am happy, but I hadn't really ever tapped into that joy, like had a joygasm until this last year. That was like the first time in my life. I mean, that I remember, maybe when I was a child before everything happened. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not been working with you and healing the things that had prevented me from having that in the first place. And, and it's like, I'm not at my ideal weight, but I'm actually like okay with that right now, because I know my body is healing in different ways, and my mind is going through things. And like what you talked about with what you had to do for yourself is you just focused on nurturing yourself. And that's really where my focus has been, is like, how can I nurture myself through these situations, and like make sure my nervous system feels really good, and just how can I make sure I just feel really good in this situation right now. And that's so much more empowering. Yeah, it's so much more empowering. And, and you do work with the subconscious mind. So you also work with essential oils, which is awesome, because I work with essential oils with animals. And what was really funny is you're like, okay, we're going to go into your subconscious mind, and it's easier to move through the blood barrier of the brain when you're with smell and essential oils that can heal trauma. And so you're like naming some oils, like, we're going to use this. I'm like, I have that, I have that, I have that, I have that, I have that. And you're like, oh my God, you have all the essential oils. I was like, yep, I have all of those. And so that's been really awesome as well. So back to this quiz. Can people take it if they're not working with you? I know I took it, but I'm one of your clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. I offered it on my website, so anybody can go. I'm sure, Rachel, you can
I'll share the
tell
website.
them through the
Yeah.
website at the end. But yes, it's available for anyone. And then even if you don't work with me, that's perfectly fine, because what I'm hoping for is as many people take it, and just just give them a tip of what's causing them their emotional problem or any kind of problem they have around their weight and body image, and then just do something about it. Just move one step forward. That's what I'm hoping for everyone. And once you take it, your name, your email goes to my mailing list, and then I'm sending a newsletter twice a month, and with a lot of tips about how to overcome certain like emotional eating, or I'm giving away a lot of gifts that I've seen helping my clients over and over.
Awesome.
So yeah, just so you get a lot of free gifts and exercise and things like that.
Oh,
So
awesome. So if they take the quiz, they're going to be put on your mailing list where you're going to send them more than to just kind of help them and dive
exactly.
into what it is,
Mm-hmm.
whether they
Yes.
work with you private or not.
Exactly. And one more thing is that it will be in the email that they're going to get when they receive the result. But I have created this a closed group, like Facebook page
Mm,
for
I'm in
each
it.
types. Exactly.
I'm in
4
my type.
types.
I'm in my
Yes.
type. Yeah.
So you can connect with the people who are the same type as you, and you can connect and you can support each other, and I'll be there to support you as well. So you don't need to be in my actual long-term program, but you can be on the page so that I'll be there to support you, and just like if you need any help, yeah, I'll be there to
So,
support
what
you.
would be the benefit of being in a Facebook group with other people who are the same type of emotional eater as you? Like, because you broke it up into 4 different groups. So,
Mm-hmm.
my type is not commingling with the other 3 types of emotional eaters. We got our own. And what do you think the benefit is to to mingling with the people who have the same emotional eating issues as you?
Sure. Well, at the end, I'm planning of bringing everybody together, because I don't want it to, like I said, you could be maybe 2 types, but you get just end up, you get only one result, but it could be like 2 or 3 types at the
Oh,
same
right.
time. So it's not like, oh, you have this problem and you don't have any other problems.
Right.
So I'm thinking of just combining everybody together, because what I want for everyone is that I don't want them to feel alone, because
Mhm.
I felt so alone when I was going through my own problem.
Mm.
And I felt so ashamed, because I thought that I was the only one who is dealing with this problem, and then
Mhm.
I couldn't talk to anyone. And I was living with my family, but nobody knew that I had this problem, because I have to hide. I hid it pretty well, and then sometimes I have to lie to them to hide my problem, and that makes me even more ashamed of myself.
Right.
So I don't want, and I've seen this over and over in a different situation, that a lot of women feel the same way. So
Mhm.
I want them to just come together and support each other, and it just make them feel, I want them to feel that they're not alone. They have
Right.
someone.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, nobody wants to be like, I'm working with a weight mentor
Exactly.
because I'm an emotional eater because of childhood
Exactly.
trauma that was
Yes.
triggered by my ex-boyfriend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, I'm gonna just give them. I'm gonna lead them to their like specific type page,
Mhm.
and so that they can really connect with the people who are exactly the same type and are just going through the same thing. But I'm planning of just gathering, bring them, all of them together at some point. I'm not sure. It just everything. I just
Whenever
started.
whenever you
Just
have your
started.
intuitive hit on when that's a good idea.
Exactly. I'm sure that the universe is just going to tell me what to do. But this
Yeah.
is, yeah, in the
Yeah.
beginning, I'm going to do that. But yeah, the main thing why I created is just for people to have some, support from other people and help each other.
Awesome. Awesome. So, yeah, so I'll post links to your website and everything in wherever they're watching this video and in the membership site. But before we wrap up, is there any, well, let me ask you, like, why did you choose this? Like, I'm like, is it because of your own struggles or like what inspired you to want to help other women?
Um, I became a coach because I wanted to help people. Well, I that's kind of like a broad reason, but one the biggest reason is like I had this friend, a specific friend that I was giving advice to for a long time from high school.
We all
Um,
have one of those.
exactly. And then I always wanted to, she always had a problem. She always emailed me just crying, just like help, ask for help. And I was helping, but then I felt like my personal experience and my personal knowledge is not enough to help her. So I'm
Mm.
like, why don't I just become a coach so that I can help her better? That was just like very
Really? You did this to help your
for
one
one
friend?
person. Yeah. Yeah. And then, but
Oh
she's
my
been
God.
working
Let's
with
just
me.
take a pause there. You guys, Miyu went to coaching school so she could figure out how to be a better coach to her one friend. That sums up who you are, though. You're like the most loving person who's like, I want to give you the best everything. So you went to go figure out how to be a coach for your one friend. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
I know. But I always like to help people. But then, of course, once I became a coach, I was coaching only Japanese people, clients. And but the more I coach and the more I talk about my message and then what I wanted to, the dream that I wanted to accomplish, I it just keeps pulling me back to my weight and the body image issue that I had.
Mhm.
And then I realized that, just talking about being intuitive, just one day I just got this message that I should start working with anybody, not just Japanese women, people, but anybody who need help. And then I can't do that. I can't, yeah, I have a lot to share, and it's my calling.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like you said, since I cover so many different areas of everybody's life, I wasn't sure if I should call myself, weight loss coach, because that really narrows my, criteria. Um, but that's one of the big things that I've seen over and over, especially women who are entrepreneurs who have a big dreams and wanted to go out there and just share their stories, but they hold themselves back because they're so afraid of being judged, seeing and being judged.
Yeah.
And even like when I go to this women's circle or mastermind classes, I've seen over and over them just struggling to even put like one video just talking about their story because they don't look how
Yeah.
they look, and
Yeah.
they're just scared just like being judged, and they're just having people saying something to them, and
Totally.
that's really painful for me to see. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I they need me. I
Yeah.
have to be there for them because I know exactly what to do to help them.
Oh,
So
I love that. And I was like, now I have another question for you. So, do you feel like there's a big difference? Like, well, okay, do you feel like the struggles the Japanese people have are the same as the American people, or are they different struggles? Because when you think of Japanese people, you're like, they're really thin and skinny and totally healthy all the time. And so, do you
yeah,
think there's different struggles?
I get that all the time, but the core of their problem is the same.
Mm,
How they surface is a little different, or how they look at themselves is a little different. And then that's what I always tell people, like when I hear like, oh, Japanese people, they're so thin and why do they want to lose weight? The problem for them is that the standard, everybody's so thin, the standard of being thin is very high, like a lot higher than here. So
right.
people wanted to be like super skinny, like a supermodels over there. And then like to me, like let's say like I'm considered skinny,
Mhm.
here, but I'm slim over there, not skinny. I'm not skinny enough. So you get the picture. So just these
Right.
women, they're thin from Americans' point of view, but they are not skinny enough. They're not.
No, that makes sense. So then that's it like really manifests self-hatred in you because
Exactly, that the
even though you
pressure.
right, and that goes back to the original thing of what we're talking about. Regardless of your size, if you don't feel good on the inside, it's going to eat away at you.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly. So the
Yeah.
pressure from yourself, from the society, people expect of you. You want people to just look at you as a beautiful, but if you don't feel that way about yourself, none of them matters, you
So
know.
let me ask you, because here you're considered in America, you are skinny. Actually, when I saw you when I was in LA last year, I was like, because we always see each other like this. When you picked me up, everybody Miyu drove through rush hour, LA rush hour, to the like a hotel near the airport to pick me up and take me out for dinner because she's so sweet and nice. No other Angelino would do that for you. They'd be like, sorry, you're on your own. It's LA rush hour. I'm not coming. And Mia was like, none of my close friends in LA, but Mia's like, I will come. And I was like, that is amazing. You were like the nicest person ever. But when you came and picked me up, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how little you are. You're you're super skinny here. But in Japan, you're slim. So when you go back to Japan, does that sort of mess with you, or do you feel like you've got your emotions under control?
Yes, I'm okay now. But yeah, of course, it really messed me up when I was there before I came here. When I first came here when I was 21, that was probably just the worst time as far as, yeah, eating disorders and emotional eating, just all kinds of mental problems because I was getting so much pressure, not from the society, but from my family, people around me, and of course myself. The biggest problem, just like pressuring myself not to be perfect, not good enough, not
Mm,
good enough to even be, accepted. And I was looking for a place to be accepted, and be loved. And yeah. Mhm.
yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I absolutely adore you. I
Thank
think you're
you.
like, we are so blessed to have you walking around on this planet with us. And I know that you have like completely changed my life and set me up for success for the rest of it. And I was just really excited to be able to share you with all of the women I know. So thank you
Yeah.
so, so much for being a part of this series.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Had so much fun, as
Good.
always.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.